practices that do conserve agricultural resources in high. And so as PELUM is celebrating 30 years of existence, it is looking back to this aspect and ensuring that we keep it at a crucial discussion point and even implementation point. This is for continued fair human existence. And so I'm being joined by Josephine Akia, the country coordinator from PELUM Uganda, as well as Sharon Naluwade, who's a nutritionist, and this is from Mulago Hospital. Good morning to you. I'll start with Josephine. Good morning to you, Josephine.
Good morning, Priscilla, and good morning to all the viewers this morning.
It's a pleasure to have you. Our nutritionist, Sharon, good morning to you.
Good morning, Regina.
It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
Usually it's very hard to have a conversation about food and have it alongside a nutritionist. You know, when one is encouraging food practices that are good and another is encouraging the quality of that food practice or the results that will come out of that practice. But Josephine, tell us more about PELUM Uganda and the 30 years. What milestones have you hit in these 3 decades?
Thank you so much, Regina. PELUM is actually an acronym and stands for Participatory Ecological Land Use Management. We are part of a broader network, which is the PELUM Association, and we have presence in 14 countries in Eastern, Central, and Southern Africa. So PELUM Uganda is one of the 14 countries chapters. We were established in October 1995, and some of the reasons why PELUM was established is to address the challenges that the smallholder farmers are facing, but then also to try and look at how do we revamp our degrading ecosystem. In terms of the loss of biodiversity and all the other associated challenges within the environment. So as PELUM Uganda, we are a network of 75 member organizations, and we have presence in 122 districts. And we support our member organizations through capacity building, and these in turn work directly with the smallholder farmers. So over the 30 years, we have been able to make tremendous milestones in the areas around agroecology and sustainable natural resource management, speaking to aspects of biodiversity, but the core business is promotion of agroecology as a sustainable farming system. Because agroecology looks at how do we address challenges related to climate change. How do we enhance our biodiversity? Because truth be told, if you take a ride along Ginger Road, you'll see that Maberia forest is no more. And this is because of unsustainable practices, deforestation, because we're looking for fuel, wood, or timber or something. So we are promoting agroforestry as one of the things within agroecology to enhance our biodiversity, and also looking at aspects of system interactions. And then we are also looking at how are we able to harness whatever that the environment has, and looking at aspects of policy as well. We've also been able to look at the aspects of marketing. We know that the smallholder farmers do a lot in terms of ensuring that we have good and healthy and nutritious food. But if we are only promoting the production without looking at the marketing bit, where the farmer is able to have an increased income in their livelihood, then it makes no sense. So we promote participatory guarantee systems where a farmer is growing agroecologically, but also the consumer is aware that whatever we are producing is actually safe for their consumption. We also work with credit institutions, microfinance institutions, but also try to look at how do we work within the smallholder farming setting for them to be able to save their own incomes. So village learnings and savings associations are promoted as a way of enhancing access to finance. Then when it comes to policy as well, we've had quite a number of interventions where we've worked closely with our line ministries, the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, the Ministry of Land, Housing and Urban Development, the Ministry of Trade, industry and cooperatives, but also the Ministry of Finance, where we're looking at financing within the budgeting framework.
Okay.
So in terms of the milestone, they're enormous across those chains that we've talked about, or strategic areas of focus that we work.
All right, let's talk about the achievements or the milestones that have been hit on the side of nutrition. I know that the quality of food does matter, even though we see it dropping by and large in most recent times because of the evolution in practices, the desire to get money as the core of any person who's entering, for example, agriculture by and large, instead of thinking about the quality of what they're trying to put out on the market. And in tandem, how has it affected us when it comes to nutrition, Sharon?
Well, thank you very much, Regina. You realize that there are a number of issues. Well, malnutrition is at a high, though, of course, government has come in. There are many efforts that are in to reduce malnutrition. However, you realize that it all comes back from, it comes as far as production. What comes on our plate, okay, vis-a-vis preferences. Okay, there are many preferences, there's lack of information. There are many challenges around food production, vis-a-vis income. So you find most of the food is sold. Thank God that PELUM is here to look at the market and all that. However, we are saying good nutrition is important. We need indigenous foods to be upheld. People lacking information. You realize that taste has taken over nutrition, okay? We look at how does it taste. We are saying technology has come in, value addition. However, value addition is coming with its own cons, you understand? So you realize that we need to speak. We need to create awareness. People need to know what are these foods. It's good that there's going to be an exhibition. Some of the young generation do not know what these traditional foods are like.
That's very true. If
okay.
it's not macaroni, if it's not rice, then...
Fast foods, you're looking at how fast can I cook? Yes. So there is, we are looking at also the foods are available, but how are we preparing them? Okay, preparation. So in this exhibition, people should come, let people know the role of the food, what are the foods, how to prepare them, what is going to be the importance. All these talks are going to be there.
I'm looking at Sharon saying, how do you prepare them? And in my head, I'm seeing her boil, steam, what, and people these days fry. But that's a discussion we'll be getting into. As advocates, Akia, in terms of reforms, what are some of those policy reforms that you have actually seen to be in most urgent need of attention when it comes to ensuring that there's acceleration of agro-ecology?
Thank you, Regina. One of the current reforms that we are working closely with the Ministry of Agriculture and Mall Industry is the development of a national agroecology strategy. Any sector without any policy or legislatory framework is basically implementation without a guiding framework. So we are currently, we've developed it in collaboration with the ministry, but also our membership. And this basically looks at how do we upscale agroecology. Why agroecology? If you look at our conventional farming, we are going into the use of synthetic fertilizers and chemicals, meaning that we are harming our environment, but also harming ourselves as human beings. And later, we always have a saying that you are what you eat. If the soil is not healthy, then most likely you're also going to take in these toxics that have been put into the soil. So we are looking at how do we have a legislation that is speaking to the agroecology in terms of the practice, in terms of interconnectedness with other policy frameworks. We were able to work on the National Organic Agriculture Policy as well, which was approved in 2019. However, we do not have still a bill, which is the act to inform the implementation of this policy. When it comes to areas around financing the national budget framework, we are also looking at what is it that is coming through the agro-industrialization program. but specific to areas of natural resource management, to areas of agriculture, to areas of agro-industrialization with a focus on agroecology, but also in terms of access to input when it comes to seed. As PELUM, we are promoting farmer-led seed innovations, where we are trying to tell our members that we need to go back to our indigenous traditional seed. If you remember how our grandmothers used to conserve seed, just above the fireplace, that is no more. Because we have been put in a situation where I have to buy seed each planting season as a result of climate change or as a result of poor germination percentages of the seed, which is not the case with the indigenous or traditional seeds that we have. So these are some of the aspects that we are looking at, but also in terms of incentives. Our farmers work doubly hard in ensuring that we have safe and healthy food on our table, but they need an environment that also acknowledges their effort. What remedies can we put? Just like the government puts incentives for external investors, what can we put for the smallholder farmers that are promoting agroecology?
Sharon, when it comes to policy or reforms, are there any that are existing for us currently as a country that we are running on a national level to promote nutrition and its security?
Yeah, there are many other policies, especially when you look at, for example, the school feeding policy. Yeah, it is important. We want to ensure that foods, children in school are feeding. Okay, and then the others are to reduce malnutrition. The guidelines are on. We are saying malnutrition should reduce. Okay, and how is it going to reduce? It will all come from feeding. And then also the ministry is funding. We have the nutrition assessment programs that are taking place nationwide, and then throughout our health facilities, malnutrition is being managed in all our regional referrals, district hospitals. And we are saying assessments should be done at all levels to ensure that we identify this malnutrition as early as possible. But there are many resources that are required to manage malnutrition. And I think if we started from the grassroots, providing a balanced diet, indigenous foods, because these foods are available at our household level. Malnutrition starts at the household.
Level.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Akia, you talked about financing and marketing. When it comes to PELUM, what are you doing to help stakeholders actually address the role of finance as well as markets in supporting smallholder farmers in ensuring that there's the agroecological enterprise as a healthy economy, but most especially is when it comes to the role of women and youth in that direction?
Thank you, Priscilla. When we're looking at financing during this week, we are going to be also celebrating our 4th Agroecology Market and Systems Expo. That is entirely looking at the promotion of the youth and women in agroecological entrepreneurship. So what do we do as PELUM? We have developed in consultation with our member organization what we call replicable models. So we have the PESA for the Swahili word meaning money, agro-enterprise marketing model. And this basically looks at how are we able to link the various value chain actors in terms of bringing them closer to the producer, but also the producer closer to the market, to eliminate any would-be exploitations within by the middlemen, as we all know in Uganda. So this is basically looking at, Amaze is focusing on how do we bring all the various agro-entrepreneurs, but also the business development service providers. These are, for instance, microcredit institutions. We are looking at those that make small machineries. We are looking at those that enhance product development and packaging materials that would enable the farmer to put a product on the market that will compete with that is being imported.
Okay. On that note, talk to us about the indigenous and traditional food and seed fair coming up, and who are the stakeholders that you are targeting as we close.
We are looking at, this is going to be the 15th, meaning we've had it for a series of 15 years. And this year we are looking at what my colleague talked about, Sharon talked about. how are we bringing the indigenous foods closer to our families, closer to the consumers? The biggest question we always get is, where do we get them? And when you walk around our territorial markets, this is Nakasero, Owino, you will find a bit of these, but I guarantee you they may not be as safe as agroecological products. So who are the stakeholders? We are having our farmers, but we are also having cultural institutions, because we know that with cultural institutions, there's a lot that goes in there. This time around, we are going to be working closely with the Nabagerika Foundation, because we all know they promote the Tsakate, and this is where our children are taught about how to prepare, but also how to tell which are the actual indigenous foods as well. So the aspects of preparation, consumption, preservation will all be dealt with. We also have policymakers that will be there, because we need to have stringent policies that speak to aspects of nutrition while supporting and promoting what we have as Uganda.
All right, so when is it happening, where is it happening, and how do I get in?
We've dubbed it the Agro-Ecological Week of Action, and this is beginning today, but today is majorly talking to the media and telling the community and Uganda at large what we have in store. So the events that are open to the public, we have the 7th National Agroecology Actors Symposium, which is NAS. This is talking about the policy frameworks. And then we shall be having the 4th Agroecology Market and Systems Expo that will be happening on the 29th. And all these are going to be happening at Africana. Then on Thursday and Friday, we shall be focusing on the 15th Indigenous and Traditional Seed and Food Fair, where we are inviting the whole country, and you'll have to see a diversity of foods coming from all the regions. So this is in Africana, People's Space. Please, the whole Uganda, come and see, come and test the diversity of Ugandan foods.
All right, thank you so much, Akia Luyimbazi from PELUM Uganda, and also Sharon, thank you so much, our nutritionist from Mulago Hospital. And please go and learn more about these indigenous foods, what they are and how best you can incorporate them to ensure that you are a very healthy person. And that starts with what you take in versus what comes out of you. But anyway, as we continue helping you digest foods this morning, the other food that we're going to help you digest this morning is our Kickstarter looking at the unopposed candidacy and the signals that are being sent to the opposition political parties, where they stand right now. So examining that ahead of the elective season, as officially now built up with presidential